Medway Yacht Basin, 1963. This shot is taken from the yacht basin looking at the bridge, splendid bridge being erected to carry the A2 across the Medway between and going between London and Dover. And this event was the total transformation of the Medway Yacht Basin, because they used all the fill coming from the cuttings to fill in the saltings in front of the yacht basin, which were unusable because they were covered with water at high tide. Here we have the main winter undercover storage shed, which was a corrugated steel shed, and it collapsed under the weight of the snow and was replaced by a very fine pre-stressed concrete hangar, which totally transformed the place. But here we're seeing it in its original form, with a few boats moored up. But doesn't that look, it looks a bit like that has collapsed there. Perhaps these are shots of the collapsed shed. Anyway, here we are. There's a mixture of houseboats moored up in the quay, and you can see that there's a wooden walkway built out across the saltings to go down to the water level of the Medway River. And here we're looking at probably something quite near high tide, so the boats are all floating. And of course, once it gets to low tide, they would go down and sit on the mud bottom. And here looks like it's one of the family cleaning the decks of the snow on the Thames barge, which was our home. And it was an old grain barge which had been converted into accommodation, with a deck house and a number of cabins down below. And that looks like Ray clearing the snow off, and Daphne appeared briefly at the window of the deck house. And there we're looking across the saltings down to the, you can see they're just at the surface of the water, so it can't have been a very high spring tide. And here's somebody, what are they doing? Looks like they're towing ice out. And that's one of the walkways with a houseboat down sitting on the mud. Now it's low tide, I think, or getting towards low tide. It looks like quite a wrecked old boat. Yes, now there we are. There is the collapsed structure of the main hangar. So we were looking at the collapsed thing from the front. Now that they've taken the roof sheeting off, we can see how it's collapsed, whereas before we couldn't see that. And here is a snow-covered countryside. There was a really heavy fall of snow that year.